This is Root Literacy Design, where we share stories, tips, and tools for educators implementing evidence-based literacy. Please take a moment to like and subscribe to our channel so we can keep helping educators like you.
Hi everyone, my name is Amy Goldblatt. Welcome to Root Literacy Design. Today I'm going to be talking to you about when to spell the sound A in a word and read words. So there's a couple different ways that A is spelled in different words. And specifically, I'm going to talk about AI and AY first. So when I'm teaching this to my students, I'm going to teach them both individually. So AI, and then I will show them the card. So AI says aim A. And the prompt is, when do we use AI to spell A? And the response is at the beginning or middle of a word. And we have a conversation and we talk about why can't we use AI at the end of a word? And that's because English words don't end in I, which is something that we've already talked about what words, English words can't end in, one of which is I. So when you get a spelling pattern like AI spells A, it can't be at the end of the word because English words don't end in I. So that is one of the reasons why the AI spelling for A is used at the beginning or middle of a word. And when we use AI to spell words, this is one of the talker vowel teams. So the vowel team is the two letters, and they will say its name. So they're part of the talker vowel team family versus the whiner team, which kind of makes a new sound. So when we talk about AI, again, I'll teach just kind of a day of AI words. And I'll say to my students, every time you hear the sound A today, you're going to spell it with the sound AI. And hopefully they'll start to realize that, wow, I'm really only seeing that in the words. The AI spelling is in the beginning and the middle of words when I use AI. Then additionally, we're going to talk about how to spell A at the end of a word. And that's when I'll show them that AY, play A. So play is the key word here. So when we tap out play, it's P-L-A, and I hear that A sound at the end of the word. So we use AY to spell A at the end of the word. So then I'll show them a worksheet, something similar to this. And we just go over this again. And we use AI to spell A at the beginning or middle of the word. And we use AY to spell A at the end of the word. And again, when I teach this, you are the expert. You're going to have to determine if your class needs a whole lesson on AI, and just that day, all the words that you give them are going to be words that start or that have the AI spelling. And then a different day to spell only words with AY. So then when they hear the sound A, they're only using AY to really solidify that AY is at the end and AI is in the middle. Now, what you can also do is determine if your students can do this in one lesson, then go for it. You are the experts of your own classroom, so feel empowered to kind of pause this video as you need to, and take things in stride as you go. So then I would also, once I've already taught my students AI and AY spelling, what I'm going to want them to do is try to differentiate, when do I use AI, when do I use AY, when they're spelling words. So for example, for we're down here. So we're going to say write AI or AY to spell A. So this first one would be aim. And what I want to prompt my students to do is to think about what do they need to do in order to spell these words correctly. So you're always going to say the word. So the word is aim. And then I would finger tap the sounds, or I can just kind of tap. So I'll just kind of model it over here. So it's A, So that first sound, I need them to start to think, where do I hear that sound A? Is it in the beginning, the middle, or the end? And this is the thinking steps that you want your students to be able to do on their own. So you want them to think, I heard that sound A at the beginning. And then the next thinking step is, well, if it is at the beginning, how do I spell it? And hopefully they will remember that AI is how we spell it at the beginning or middle of a word. So this word would be aim. And then we always finish with reading the word. We would read it as aim. The next word is bay. So the sound is B-A. So we need them to think again, where do I hear that A sound? It's at the end. Now I need to do another thinking step. Well, when it is at the end of a word, how do I spell it? It's with the AY. So I write A-Y, bay. The next word is ale. So it's A-L. Again, this is at the beginning of the word. So it would be A-I. The next word is tray. So it'd be T-R-A. So where do we hear that A sound? It's at the end. So you need to prompt your kids. What do I do when I hear it at the end of a word? That's when we spell it with A-Y. Read the word tray. The word is pray. So P-R-A. It's at the end of the word. So how do I spell it? It's with the A-Y. All right, so now let's try another couple. So this word is gain. So it's G-A-N. So I hear it in the middle. And again, you want them to think, where do I see it? And how do I spell it when it's in the beginning or middle? And that would be the A-I. So the word is gain. This next word is brain. So it's B-R-A-N. Again, I hear it in that middle sound. So if it's in the middle, I'm going to spell it with A-I. So the word is brain. Next word is plain. P-L-A-N. Plain. I hear it in this space, which is in the middle of that word. So again, I want my students to think. Remember, you want your students to be able to think about these steps. When I hear it in the middle, it has to be AI. And we always joke that when the kids are kind of yelling these rules back at you, then they've got it. So if they're still like kind of asking questions, keep reviewing this until they're like, we get it, Miss Amy. It's in the middle of the word. All right, so your next word is display. So this word is multisyllabic. So you can it's going to be display. So we can just kind of focus on this second half if you choose to. So display. So it's P-L-A. And I hear it here at the end of that multisyllabic word. And again, it's going to be, if you hear it at the end, it's going to be with an A-Y. This next word is aimless. So I hear A-M-L-S. So if I hear it in this space, it's in that beginning zone. So I'm going to spell it with that A-I. So this is how you want your students to start to differentiate if it's an A-I or an A-Y spelling pattern. And you really just want to keep bringing their attention back to, where do I hear that sound A? Is it in the beginning or middle of the word? Use A-I. And if it's at the end, we use the spelling pattern of A-Y, which are both the talker vowel teams. So I'm going to continue, because if you can see here down at the bottom, there is another way to continue to spelling A. So I just want to bring your attention over to something like this, where we're going to hear that A in the middle of a word, but there's more than one way to spell it. So now we go back to this vowel consonant E, and then this is a vowel team is the AI. So now you want your students, obviously you want them to master something first. So I wouldn't jump into this in one lesson. So please pause the video and just focus on the AY first, and then once your students are ready, continue. But I just wanted to include this in one video here today. All right, so if you see the next sound is still A, but when you hear it in the middle of a word, now you're going to start to hear about vowel consonant E, and the kids are going to be like, wait, how do I do this? So there's a trick to this also, or just kind of a rule of thumb, that you want your students to be doing the thinking. That's what's so important about all of these different spelling rules. So the rule for A consonant E and AI spelling is when I hear one consonant sound after the A in a one-syllable word, I must use AI and A consonant E to spell the sound A. Okay, so what that's saying is when you hear that A in the middle of a word, right, there's only one consonant sound after that A. You have to use one of these two ways to spell it at this point in the scope and sequence. There are more, but for right now, we're going to stick to these two. So then you want your students to kind of start to decide. It says, then I must decide which spelling is best and check it in a dictionary. All right, so let me give you a couple examples here. So for this, let's say the word is train, okay? So you want your students, we always tap out the word or finger spell. So the word would be T-R-A-N. Okay, so I hear that A here, and I only hear that one consonant. I hear that N at the very end. So I know that it comes in the middle of this word. So now I'm saying that there's two ways to spell it. So I'm going to attach the letters. So the first sound is T, R. And what I actually want students to start to do is do something called cognitive spelling. So you're going to try both of them. So let's try the first one. So let's use AI because it's in the middle of a word and finish it off with the N. Okay, so this is one way to spell it. But then I want my students to also try the other way. So it's still tr, and then if it's ain, it could be vowel consonant E. So that's A and E for that vowel consonant E here. And then I want them to look at these two words. And more times than not, it's pretty fascinating. They would look at these two words and I would be like, is it the top one or the bottom one? And more times than not, they're going to be able to recognize the correct spelling of the word. So this is when it says you must decide which spelling is best. So use cognitive spelling to try to figure out which one is best. And if they still have absolutely no idea, then that's always when you check it in a dictionary, ask a friend, ask a teacher. That's where the learning comes in also. But what I also want to bring to your attention is this is when words start to, it's really important for words to hold meaning, obviously. So let's try a different one. So the word is sail. So I would tap out S-A-L. So again, I would do S, and then let's try A-I-L, and then let's try S-A-L-E as vowel consonant E. Now, if I was looking at these, I think both of these are correct because they both are. Now, what the next thing you need your students to do is start to figure out, well, what is the meaning? Is it talking about like a sailboat, or is it talking about a sale at the store? And that's where the different meaning comes in, where they need to be able to kind of start to differentiate that both of these are spelled correctly. They just hold different meaning. And that's kind of the next step of being able to spell and being able to hold meaning in different words. So yeah, that's kind of where we're at with starting to talk about cognitive spelling and being able to kind of differentiate that A sound in the beginning or middle of a word. And then beyond that, once you get into the middle of the word, you'll be able to see. Hope you enjoyed it. Thanks so much.
Like and subscribe.